idea was definitely something we had to address. Instead of having all the pictures in one place, we had to disperse them throughout. Yeah. And what made it so that a picture worked with a work? Since they're obviously not the same artists and they didn't know about each other as they were making their work.
Sometimes we found that they shared themes, or the visuals would evoke a certain emotion that was present in the piece, and so we worked with that.
Cool. Was there one that particularly popped out to you, Nadine, since you helped? That says, oh, this has to go here?
Oh yeah, definitely the whole process was, there were a lot of those when we were going through the list and creating the actual order that things were going to be in. I really loved, for example, I was just telling a few people over here about a piece that was pulled from the magazine, and they just had, it was basically a metaphor for domestic negligence as I described it, and the very first visual piece in the book, not the cover, was just, I felt perfect for it. Tonally, it was very jarring with this bright yellow, just very much, I loved going through and selecting pairings for the whole book. It was so much fun, because there's so many different things about artwork that makes it match with these literary pieces, and it's fun to see how many people are on the same sort of wavelength in that way. I loved that process.
Nadine did a lot and noticed a lot that I didn't see in terms of these connections, so that was very nice to have.
Yeah, all three were very active. You know, you think when you're making a magazine like this, today it's done. I made the decisions, it's done, but we kept getting emails back, things to check through, and last little tinkerings here and there. And I think that's ultimately the thing and we all know as artists, that it's process, right? I hear that phrase a lot in the cliche business world. We're just going through process now. But it's artists that have always understood work is a matter of process. Those of us in English can get fancier with a word called recursive. So just keep going back over and over and doing the same thing and making all those smallest changes. It's the prayer and hope of all writers that revision is always improvement. That's just another way of saying making things better. And I could tell that you guys did that quite a bit. And you guys did all the reading together too, so you were seeing all that stuff happening gradually, but then you had that moment where you said, okay, here it is. A quick question for Matt. There's something though that we were always instinctively wanting to make sure this magazine was a little bit about with you, Matt, and that's why we have Matt having signed the board above this. And that is, he's got a love of the graffiti art. And it really comes through in this. It's subtle, it's a seasoning, it's not overdone, but it's little things like the one interruption on Dominique's awesome charcoal.
Yeah.
Charcoal is the little tag right here of the hello tag with the way we put the right side on there. Tell us a little bit about it. You were telling me one time that there's a rush to the graffiti world. Matt, what's that mean?
Okay, like I started writing back in like '94, and I was kind of involved with like the kids that would do that. And then it's sort of like you kind of want to get your art felt, your name. So you go around, write your name, these kind of things. That's kind of how.
Yeah, I like the way you put that you want your art felt. And I think that's at the bottom of the heart of being human, but also why we
like
express
earlier we're
ourselves.
talking about
We
like
have emotions.
Yeah.
Yes, go on.
No.
Okay. What were some of the things that you're doing here that kind of have that different? Because you're featured in here, and I was very insistent, and I'm very insistent to everyone who participates in the magazine that if you are a part of the organization, you should be represented in the work that you did. So that being an editor does not mean your work shouldn't be in it. Instead, I say it's the opposite. You've got to get something. I think earlier in the process, like maybe in February or March, John was very reticent about having a piece of his. And I said, nope, you got to have one. You know, there is a film company called Screen Actors Guild. You know who started it? Just guess. Screen actors. You know what I mean? If you don't own your productivity, if you're not taking that ownership step of yourself as an artist, well, you're letting yourself go and you're always working for somebody else.
Yep.
And I think that every literary magazine that I've ever been involved with, the other ones we've seen when we visit New York and everything, that the world of art is made by people who are taking ways and finding ways to own that manufacturing and that product of the art. Does that make sense? We've all seen Rent, right? Ever seen the movie Rent or the play? That's like at the heart of it, right? They're arguing about who owns art and what makes it. So it was very, very important to me that your art was in this. So we have art from all of our team. But it's very important for me, since the day I met him, I understood your graffiti art style, Matt. But as I got to know you, there's so much different art. Can you walk us through some of the things that are in there that are your artistic
That would be-
contributions?
I mean, I wanted to go really wild, but it ended up being pretty simple, but just work. So we have like the right side at the bottom here. I don't know.
So you had drawn that and made that the image that you put the page numbers on? So you had to place that? What about, some of the stuff looks like it's writing, it's got a graphic quality to it.
Yeah, well,
Amendments and the,
Yeah,
what's the other?
these are kind of like political statements, but at the same time, my handwriting, I'm a little bit wilder. You can see like my tag name there.
So you bring that, is that the art like that, graffiti thing, or is it something now that's emerged from your graffiti
It's
into
sort of
something kind of new?
like this is kind of like how I develop my style. At the same time, it's sort of handwriting. I don't know. It's just kind of how I write.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was involved. I mean, like I wasn't in the crew, but I was involved with JMC back in the day. It's kind of like this kind of where I developed.
cool.
The
And
Jam Master.
I'm very glad that it's still part of it. Can I put down your alias? Let everyone know what that is?
Oh, Ghostly?
Yeah. So right here it says the right side, and right here is DJ Ghostly.
Well, I'm not. Yeah, I'm a DJ, but that's.
So what you see on the back, the quote on the back is from Matt, our
Oh
artist.
yeah.
Nadine, now we'll put before I get back to you, Nadine. You're graduating?
No, I'm not even close.
We're not even close. Okay, I thought you were
I might be
transferring.
transferring.
You're transferring to?
SAIC. I don't know yet.
Okay, but looking at the School Art Institute of
Right.
Chicago, cool. And John, are you graduating?
In the fall.
You're going to DePaul?
No, I'm graduating in the fall.
Oh, in the fall? Okay. All right, cool. Well, I'm glad you have me back. I kind of think it'll be sooner than that. I'm glad. Nadine, you worked on all aspects of the magazine from the club, right from the get-go. But from the beginning, there was a request from you to be working on the visual arts. You're a visual artist?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about your art.
So yeah, I consider myself primarily a visual artist. I draw and paint quite a bit. My technical stuff is always more put together than my personal stuff, but that's because it's technical. I have a real life reference.
Yeah.
But
What do you mean by technical?
things where I am just drawing what I'm seeing or practicing my realism skills, pretty much.
Okay.
Just technical aspects of producing visual art in that medium. Most of the time, my art, like the art that's in the book, a lot of it is, I think there's only 2 pieces of visual art of mine, and one of them is an example of my more expressive work, where I'll just create something in my mind that is just, it's usually a contorted figure. Most of my drawings feature contorted figures, and it's just an expression of whatever I'm dealing with at the time, whatever kind of things I'm putting up with, you know.
I noticed that with you in the portraits too, and Dominica. We have cameras. What's this fascination with artists still drawing people?
Cameras don't capture everything.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What is it that the artist can capture that the camera can't?
An artist that paints, I feel like they spend more time with the subject. Because you sit there and you draw in layers, you paint in layers. You don't just snap a photo from a compositionally good angle or interesting angle. It's more creating an interesting composition and really working through it and getting to know what it is you're producing. So there's more heart to it, and there's more, the things that you choose to paint or draw, I feel that there's more of a soul to it, there's more of a purpose, more
I like those
meaning.
words, art, soul and purpose. Is there anything to add, Dominica, since you have 2 portraits in the magazine too, the cover? If you haven't,
Yes.
if you just came, I think I already reported, but Dominica is the artist of the cover shot. And
So
then she
I
has
would
another
say,
portrait.
I would add to everything what
Nadine.
Nadine, I'm sorry, said that I guess the drawings, and there's like a huge difference between drawings and pictures, and the main difference is you can really present the character in the right way. And the reason why is because when you take a photo, it's just exactly how the person looks. That has no character in it. And so to be able to do the character, you have to like kind of find yourself character in that person and
Oh.
express the features that you see in that person. And most of the time, they're not exactly the features that other people see. So you have to like